express my gratitude to our sponsors. My thanks go to Shanghai Construction Group America. 3 decades of real estate experience in United States with service ranging from general contracting, construction management, real estate development, and real estate fund management. As a builder and developer, the company strives for professional excellence and technological innovation in creating enduring value, and architectural achievements for generations count. Perla Broadway is being developed by SCG American, and it is the new condominium residence to grace the famed Broadway Street in downtown Los Angeles. Also, I want to thank the following sponsors who have been for this webinar series from day one. They are Open Bank Mortgage, Premium Investment Group, US Bank Team, Atlantic Esco. Now let's get down to the brass tacks. Shall we, Choi?
Hello, everybody. Yeah. Can Christopher say hi? Mike.
Hey, what's up, Choi? What's up, everyone?
Hi. I just want to bring everyone to the panel first. So is Christopher here?
I'm here. I was on mute. Sorry about that.
No worry. I'm looking for you. I cannot start without you. Charlene, are you here?
Yes, hi.
And the last one's Matt. My buddy Matt. How are you?
How are you?
Yeah, good. So at least everyone see everyone first, and whatever's on the panel, they see each of you. Who's having a phone call? We talk about $10 billion sales. Is that Chris? I got you.
It was my computer ringing. I have to admit, it was mine.
Because whenever it rings, your picture, actually, your video will actually pop up. So I know it's you.
Got it.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, I just want to say that today we want to just have an easy chit chat. It's something that, only limited to Chris, not limited to Chow, limited to Charlene and Matt. So if you feel something that you think that you want to come up with all the questions that you think that something you have put into it and it can help the rest of the realtor who is actually listening at this moment, you are more than welcome to actually to give your opinion. We actually try to share whatever your tips so we can help out all realtor to go through this pandemic thing. So first of all, I want to go through with Matt first, because I worked with Matt for 4 years for the Builder Project, which is in downtown LA, the Pearl on Broadway. So I'm part of the preferred lender group as well for Matt. Matt, I know that, in this moment, all the lockdown, especially in LA downtown, called by the mayor, Eric. So what kind of plan do you guys have as a builder to come out to fight against the sales activity? Because our sales activity is being locked down. How do you bring sales during these 2 months?
A good question. Honestly, when March 19th hit, guys, I didn't know what to think. Like Joey, and I'm sure a lot of you, or at least some of you, we lived through 2008's housing crash. Those were scary times. And frankly, myself and Kathy Klingel, the broker on this project, we had nightmares and PTSD about 12 years ago and what we lived through. I can really reassure everyone in terms of what we see during this, kind of throw some context into this in relation to what we saw 10, 12 years ago. And we're way more optimistic. Frankly, we had to switch gears though, Joey. It wasn't really about getting new sales over the past month. However, we've got some. It slowed down, obviously, but the main thing we pivoted towards was buyer retention. Frankly, we have over 200 buyers in escrow. So that's a lot of that was a lot of questions, a lot of phone calls. Obviously, agents, buyers alike were nervous. They had a lot of questions. Some of the concerns just had to do with a delay in escrow closing or a delay in construction, which we're moving full bore. Obviously, Southern California is mandated that construction and residential is deemed essential. So as of actually this morning, I have a head count up in the building. We have 370 guys up there hammering away. And so we are on track still for a late October opening for our first move-ins. So frankly, the first few weeks, really, we wanted to pivot towards maintaining all our buyers, and knock on wood, as of today, we've had 0 cancels because of the coronavirus. Way different than 10, 12 years ago. Way different. And I can go into more of that if you want, but frankly, it's just over the last week or two that we've seen a major uptick in terms of traffic. Obviously, the office is closed, though we will do, we will open the office for clients as long as they have a pre-qual, and of course, social distancing is in effect, and you've got to have your PPP on or PPE on. But it's really over the last week and a half, Joey, that our phone's kind of been ringing off the hook. I think fear is starting to subside. People are still really interested, at least in Perla. And our online traffic has quadrupled over the last 10 days. Our phones are ringing again. And like I said, as of this morning, we got a full price offer for another unit. So, you know, we're really optimistic here. You know, who knows what the future is going to hold? I don't have a crystal ball, but it's, you know, so far so good.
Okay, it means that we see what we call the consumer confidence level still there, because I think that because the equity market, the stock market is coming back quickly. Within 2 months, it's actually almost back to 15% drop from the top. So not like before 2008, we talked about 2008, remember the stock market keep going down day by day. I believe Christopher already been in the business for a long time. I do not know Charlene well, but I know Mike during the time also already been to the market as a realtor. So I think the confidence level is totally different. So I talked in one of the panel, the what we call the shape of the depression. They talked about depression, and so it was not really a depression because it's a V curve actually going back down and coming back up so quickly. So I don't think it's really the COVID-19 is actually impact the market as huge as 2008, because 2008 it was really a great depression. It was a real depression because financial market crashed and we lost our financial fundamental thing for the banking system. So yeah, it's good. So are we still closing on time at the project? You're
still closing on time. Yep, we are. You and me both. We're still looking at late October, early November. That has not changed. Like I said, we're up there every day. I don't know if you've driven by recently, and actually, frankly, a lot of listeners on this that's probably one of the more exciting things about this project is not only did I buy, but you know, some of our preferred lenders and a lot of people listening out there, brokers and agents alike, have bought a unit for themselves. So to everyone out there that either has a buyer in escrow with Perla or has a unit in escrow, we're still good. We're still looking at October, November.
Good, yeah, because actually, you know, I'm one of the unit owner too, so I'm looking toward for my keys to move in actually on time.
Me too.
All right. So thank you. Yeah, thank you, Matt, for bringing us at least news regarding to the builder side, that I don't see any slowdown to the builder side. So Mike, question for you, Mike.
Yes.
I know that I see that you're still doing a lot of activity. I see that you put on Facebook, you know, and you still closing deal and they're still getting a new listing. How do you do that?
Yeah, well, you know, we're still farming as usual, you know, and we're we're still the same activities that we've been doing. We're still doing them. The percentages of conversion is maybe a little bit lower. So you would, if you want to hit the same goals, you would just have to, you would have to do it a lot more or a lot better. But some things that I wrote this down, I wanted to share with you guys is that I think a lot of and we do trainings every single day, and we're on calls every single day as well, talking to multiple agents. I think still the issue is that I think we don't have a passive system and to lead generate. And I think having people don't, I guess agents in general, good or bad, and I find myself doing this as well too, and I have to kind of wake myself up because it's easy in this time to really if things don't go right, it's easy to go downhill from here, right? But if you're practicing the same activities on a higher level, on a very high level, staying busy, then you're still gonna be able to produce, get listings, and find people that are looking to purchase. But if someone is not comfortable in selling their home right now, I don't, your job is not to push them to sell at this time. There's always another seller or buyer that's looking to sell. I wouldn't let that lead go. I would still keep in touch with them. But so one thing that I think some goals you guys should consider is and writing this down. Number one, lead generating. That's always first and foremost, right? Number one, lead generation. Number two, listings, right? Number three, contracts written. Number four, contracts closed. Always look at your finances. I try to look at it on a daily basis now. Your people, look at your system. Number six, your people, the people that you hired, the people on your team. Number seven, systems and tools. And then always education. I'm always trying to pick up a new podcast. I'm always trying to pick up a new book, to read. Also join different webinars. And if you can have a solid goal around that, and you can track your daily numbers, you're going to be very successful. Right? You're never going to have a shortage of leads. If you have one or two clients or a few clients in escrow, all three might fall apart. and if you're not lead generating and you're just focusing on those leads, then I'm sorry, you're probably going to be screwed, right? So my goal and my job, my number one is always to focus on new clients that are coming in. Not that I'm not taking care of my old clients or my past clients or my current clients, but I'm always lead generating, and I protect that time very, 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 very well. That time is so valuable, and I think I get caught up in that too. Other people, I'm sure, as well, but I do see that as an issue with a lot of agents. I don't want to, ramble on too much, but, I just want to give you guys, some things, and we talked about this in the office, but some of the daily numbers that you should track for yourself. Okay, so if you want to write this down, I'll share this with you as well. But number one, calls. How many calls did you make? Number two, how many contacts did you make? Number three, the time that you lead generated. Number four, the referrals. Number five, are you adding to your database? Number six, how many listing appointments? Number seven, how many listings signed? Number eight, your buyer's appointments. Number nine, how many buyer's agreements did you sign, and how many accepted offers? Number 10. So there's a lot more, but
of course,
I'll stop with that.
This is what I see. You actually still doing the job that you're doing like a normal way, very consistency doing your activity. So a lot of people at this moment, they seems that everything locked down, so they stay home, they watch what we call Korean drama. It's now pretty famous. Everyone stay home. Everyone watch Korean drama. So
I'm not
it
gonna
seems
lie.
like you're actually doing your activity to attract business, because it talked about percentage. You know, how many call you actually made, and then maybe 10%, 15%. What about before? Let's say 10 call, 100 call that you actually called out. Back then you had maybe
That's correct.
how many percentage are you being to nail down?
So I think
How many percent are you being back then before the pandemic?
so let me rewind that. You know, I think we talked about conversion rate. So your conversion rate before was to set the budget and then to sign the listing. People are probably busy, so you're not going to get as many people to pick up the phone calls back then before the pandemic. But during the pandemic, guess what? A lot of people are actually home, and I message my lawyer from time to time, and he messages me back right away. So I know people have more time for sure. They're definitely in front of their computer, or they're watching Korean drama. I watch Korean dramas too. And,
me too. Me too.
The Kingdom is a really good one. So the ratio of someone picking up the phone is actually a lot higher. As a matter of fact, this morning we did an absentee call at our office. It was a live call. We were just calling people, and I think 8 or 9 calls were made during that 1 hour session. And then 6 of them, I believe, picked up. 2 of them called back later. That's a great percentage.
Yeah, 20% is huge. Yeah,
that's a great percentage. So there's no doubt that some of them are not comfortable in selling. Maybe I have clients that are older; they don't want people to come through. But we have ways to go through that 3D, 2D, and so forth. So videos.
Yeah, so this is what I see. I know how many people on the actually YouTube watching. So I see, Mike, you're successful is because you are very disciplined. Look at the call that you called out. A lot of people say, "Hey, I have no listing. It's pandemic. No one answered my phone call." But you think differently. You say, "Hey, everyone's home." So that's why I remember there was a story from my pastor. Say, "Hey, they said that." There was two guys being sent to Africa to sell shoes. So one guy said, "Hey, I'm not gonna go because African, they don't wear shoes." And I say, "Hey, they don't wear shoes, so why should I bring shoes? There's no sales activity." Another guy said, "Hey, there's billions of people in Africa, they don't wear shoes. Now I can sell billions of product there." So it's kind of two different, what we call a mindset. So I think that, that's why people need to actually follow you guys, and see what you guys do to actually for your achievement. As I said, it's not, it's not 1 day or 2 days. You've been doing this one over and over, so it become a habit. It become easy thing for you, like normal thing. So look at 9 call, you get 2 nailed down. It's amazing at this moment. So you see more opportunity compared to back then.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity in every market, and I'm glad new home sales are increasing. I'd love to bring a buyer over to Perla as well. I'm really glad to see that. I know California is so dense, so every city is very different. I know that some cities do struggle a little bit more, and it's not. I do see that in San Gabriel Valley, that townhomes and condos are taking a little bit longer to sell, but your single family, anything, I mean, $1.5, $1 million and below are still moving very, very quickly.
So what about those $1 million home in San Gabriel Valley? What do you see of those activity?
We listed one last Friday, and we got 2 offers within 48 hours. So I think
amazing.
We didn't price it. Yeah, we didn't price it extremely low. We just priced it where we felt the house does need some updating, but it's still a little bit above $1 million. And we still got 2 offers on it. We had 6 showings in 48 hours.
So would you mind telling me what location is that for the $1 million home? In which city?
That one is in Walnut.
Okay. All right, that's why a lot of people tell me, hey, Walnut is not selling. People, the $1 million home is sitting on the market longer than before. But apparently, you know, I think different kind of sales activity and different kind of people, they handle things differently. So question, are those $1 million home, are those vacant or not vacant?
This one is not vacant. It's not vacant. Some of them are vacant, and this one isn't vacant.
So the next question, I'm gonna throw the ball to Christopher. Christopher, I know that you're in different kind of markets in Bel Air and Beverly Hills area.
Yeah.
So your thing, how do you handle, because those like maybe $5-10 million home, the people say, hey, yeah, of course, come over. I want to open my house during this pandemic, or they say, Christopher, I don't want to do anything until it's over.
Most sellers are allowing us to show their property. We are allowed to show. We do take care of the proper protocols to show with masks and gloves and all those things. Also, a fair number of our luxury properties are vacant because quite often these are third, fourth, or fifth vacation homes or vacation condos for these owners around the world. So we've had no issues with someone refusing to show. So that's not been an issue. We just take the proper protocols and we're able to do it that way. So that hasn't stopped so much. There's definitely a lot less buyers out there actually wanting to go look right now in our marketplace. Because in LA, up until a couple of days ago, you were not allowed to show an owner-occupied property, but now we can show it again. So, but Beverly Hills has allowed us to do that since this started, as long as we're careful. So we are still getting showings and people are looking, and so the market is healthy in those regards.
What about owner-occupied listing? Were you able to get more listing during this time, or people actually shying away for listing the property?
Everyone's different. We had 2 listings that the owners wanted to take off the market, which was against my advice. One was just under 20 million. The other one was 4 million. But on the other hand, we listed 2 new properties, one for 2.8 million and one for 12.5 million. So it just depends on the owner. Everyone's different. I still believe right now with 38% increase in the number of online viewers looking at properties online, even though there's not an increase in showings, there's been a decrease. Just like when you shop on eBay or on Amazon and you have a shopping cart, the buyers are out there or they're at home and they're looking online, they're saving properties in their cart. And within the next week or 2 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks, as Matt talked about, buyers are starting to get more comfortable now and wanting to go back out again. So if you're not online now, you might miss an opportunity that when buyers really want to go out and look, the next couple days or next weeks, then you're going to miss that opportunity. Like tomorrow, I have a past client. We're going to look at a couple homes in the $3 to $4 million range. I have a showing for a $4 million home and a showing for the $12.5 million home. So we're working every day during this pandemic, luckily, and we're out there to show with those that want to see, but we're just being extra careful. If the buyers don't have proof of funds or a pre-approval letter, we're not showing them the house. That's very simple. We always were that, but we're being more careful because why waste anyone's time, especially now, or endanger people's lives potentially with someone that's not truly a true buyer or an agent. An agent wanted to schedule a showing. My assistant scheduled it, and then I sent them in, where's the proof of funds? Oh, I haven't gotten that yet. So we canceled the showing. It's strange how an agent would even want to call to show a property to a buyer that they have not even pre-qualified or pre-approved. So.
Okay, got you. So it seems that everything's still like in the normal way. I think this is what I see from your side. I think that more people are actually staying home. I think it's better that way, because especially your market, the husband worked very hard. Maybe wife's the housewife, waiting for husband to come home. Now they're home together. They talk about buying home every day. They can't run away. Oh, I'm busy, right? I have appointment. I need to go for dinner. I come home 11 o'clock. Now you see your wife every day. You can run away. I think it's a good sign.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, let me just say that the market is not normal. I've been selling real estate now for 32 years, and I've been through many major disasters. The crash of the 90s, the crash of the 2000s. I've been through the earthquakes, the riots in the 90s, the floods, 9/11. I've been through a lot of different situations, and it's not a normal market. Whenever something external like this particular virus, an external force is happening, affecting not just the real estate market, but the entire planet, of course, the market is not going to be normal. But I have to be as normal as possible. I get up every morning at the same time. I still come to the office. We don't have as many showings, and we're doing things virtually more. We're doing appointments virtually. a lot of Zoom calls and education more. So it's not normal, but I'm doing the best I can for my clients and myself to make it as normal as possible. Because no matter what happens in the last 32 years that I've been around, good days, bad days, you know, natural disasters, economic disasters, people will always have to buy and sell real estate. The numbers may shift a little bit here or there, but it's still going to happen. People have to live in a home, whether they rent or they own. They have to live somewhere. And we as brokers need to help encourage them to do that and be the calming force and help them not just read the salacious headlines that may scare them or frighten them, and to really pay attention to what's really going on in the marketplace and the economy and the projections so that they can make reasonable and rational decisions.
But one thing I noticed that you always dress beautifully.
Thanks.
And
Yeah,
fancy,
always.
fancy luxury shoes. I love the shoes.
Well, I'll tell you, I've not been wearing my luxury shoes the last 8 weeks. You're going to laugh at this. I'm wearing my my office flip-flops. So look, you know, look, I have nowhere to go. I mean, I have my showings, but I still dress as nice. I'm still wearing a jacket and a shirt, but yeah, I'm not. I think this is not the time. Look, I live in a world of luxury homes and luxury parties, but that's all over for the moment. So this is not the time, as you probably noticed on my social, I have not been posting anything to do with luxury clothes or jewelry or anything like that the last, 8 weeks, because it's just not the time to do that. You know, people are worried about their lives. People are worried about their future. They're worried about their finances. They're worried about their friends and their family and what's going to happen. And there's a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety from everyone. I don't care how rich you are, who you are, there's anxiety. So we all have it. I have it. I don't know about you guys, but I have my own anxieties. I just get over it quickly and I keep focusing on being really full with my schedule during the day so that I can focus on helping others and not worrying about what I'm concerned about, and moving everyone forward as best I can. And like one of the other speakers said, some can do it, some can't, and you just help those that can, and those that can't, that's their decision, and you move on to the next one. So you have to keep moving on forward all the time in any situation.
Exactly. Like late last night, I received a text message from an attorney friend. It's a builder attorney friend, sole income, and he told me he lost his job. Yeah, so look at it, people happy, people, but sometimes things happen. This is the first case that actually happens for the people surrounding me. So, I was very, worried about it too, and upset because, these people have kids, family to feed, and single income, and all of a sudden you lost your job. It's hard for you to sustain. So I hear what you say. Don't do something that you're not supposed to do at this moment. Do something that you have to do. If you want to donate masks, things like that, of course, we help out the community. And I know that you've been in the business for a long time. Me too. I've been in the business almost 23 years. I've been through, we saw the 92, we saw the 97 Asia financial crash, and we see 9/11, 9/11, and then we saw a small adjustment in 2003. It was a big crash, about 30% within the few weeks. So I know Matt went through the thing, because I talked to Matt. Matt went through 2008. He was the listing agent for a W Hotel. During that time, the what do they call that project? I forgot. Matt, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Maybe
Remember?
you're confusing me with a different Matt. I was never on the W, but I was. Are you talking about the W Hollywood?
No, not the Hollywood, the downtown LA.
Downtown W.
It's not W. Is that Marriott?
Oh, the Ritz.
So it's Carlton.
Yeah, Ritz. Yeah, Ritz. Yeah.
No, I wasn't actually on that project.
Yes.
So I can't speak to that individual project, but I was on a few others. Actually, just one down the street from us on Broadway.
Yeah. The question is, Matt, like later on, I will give the question to Chris too. The issue is, how do you compare 2008 and today's COVID-19?
Sure.
What do you see in your perspective? Do you think that this one will actually recover quicker? Or do you think that it's almost the same as 2008? This a lot of people asking me, Joey, I want to know before I actually start buying.
Sure.
If 2008, maybe I want to wait for another 1 year, 2 years. but I want to hear from your end. What do you see?
Well, my personal thoughts based off of what I've seen, and then also my thoughts based on what people are telling me. And frankly, there's very few parallels between the two. Back then, I think, as I mentioned before, I was working on a new construction condo development. We had 3 different listings at the time, 3 different buildings. As soon as that happened, everything was spiraling down. You had appraisals not coming in, right? You had people not being able to obtain loans anymore. You had people canceling. You had no people out there. There was very few people that actually had any interest in entering into a new contract. Frankly, there's been none of that I've seen here at Perla. And I've spoken to a few friends that work at competing developments, and they say the same thing. Who knows if this is going to be a U-shaped recovery or a V-shaped recovery or a W-shaped recovery. We don't really know. There's not quite enough data out there. But from everything that we see, it's, like I said, it's almost a V-shaped recovery in terms of interest over the past, I would say, last 2 weeks. I think people are kind of starting to come out of their shell again. I still get buyers who are sort of, you've got to set expectations with your clients, of course. And I have buyers out there that think, oh my God, this is going to be like 08 all over again. I can get a screaming deal on a condo because developers will be doing fire sales. That's not happening. And clearly that's not what's happening here either. It is probably a good time to go into a new contract. We might give you an extra incentive because it has slowed down a little bit. The seller might be willing to offer a couple more incentives than he would have 2 months ago. So to go into contract now is probably a great time, as long as you still have income coming in and you can get qualified for a loan. It's a good time. But yeah, there's very few similarities to what we saw back in 2008. It's a happy surprise, but like I said, when March 19th happened, and then the week or 2 following that, you had, you kind of reminisced about 2008 and 2009 and what we went through, and you couldn't help but think about that. Luckily, I think this is completely different this time around.
So, Charlene, I know that you actually manage a office
About
Realty One.
In Realty One, Best, yes.
So, is any realtor, your realtor coming back to you say, hey, what do we do, and what do you advise the client? If the client come back say, hey, should we keep buying or we don't want to buy? What kind of strategy will advise to your realtor?
Well, we have a lot of that. Buyers are questioning, what's happening with the market, and I think, like what Matt was saying, is they realize that it's not similar to 2008. Prior to this, our market was up 16%. And, multiple offers, buyers just couldn't get into houses. And now that they shut the borders, the concern is, when are they going to open up the borders? And I think that is the biggest question that a lot of our agents had. So as managing brokers, we have to pivot. We have to pivot and be flexible with helping our agents guide our clients. And, I think seeing the media is really hurting the confidence, I think, because LA County is completely different than Orange County and New York and, different areas of the, of the world. So I think that's what had scared a lot of people and put everyone in a holding pattern for about a couple of weeks. But everyone is out there again. It's unbelievable of how much business, is happening. We're seeing a lot of escrows. We're seeing a lot of questions of, with multiple offers. We have new forms that have come out, every day. CAR is changing these forms. Like this morning, the PAD is changed again. So, as a leader, we have to make sure that we're guiding our agents in the right direction. I think all the input that everyone's given is great, because we just have to be confident with our market. And I don't believe we're going to go down the same path as 2008.
Mhm. So question for Chris. Chris, what about your market? Because Charlene said they still seeing a multiple offer in Orange County. What are in your market, in Beverly Hills, Bel Air market, in the West Side?
Well, we're not seeing as many multiple offers in our marketplace. Typically, you can't really buy a house in our market under 2.5 million. That's kind of the starting point. But before going into, and I will say in the last 7 days, there have been 3 major closings in our market. A house sold in Bel Air for just under 20 million. It was the former home of Lee Iacocca, and that sold for just under 20 million to a local woman and her husband. And that was on the market for about 90 days. Another house just closed for 43 million in Bel Air. That was on the market, I believe, for about 4 or 5 months, but that closed last week. And another house closed this week. Kylie Jenner purchased the house for 36 million in Holmby Hills. So we're seeing a lot of strength and confidence in the high-end market. Even a week or so before the lockdown, as you all know, Jeff Bezos purchased the most expensive home in the history of Beverly Hills for 116 million. So in the ultra high end, there's a lot of confidence. I do have 3 or 4 buyers that were coming to LA to look at homes over 30 and 40 million, but then the shutdown happened, so they can't really travel to the US now. They're foreign nationals. So obviously when you have most of the world locked down, people from foreign countries, which is a big part of our marketplace, cannot travel here, or they don't feel comfortable traveling here. Even people who have private jets, I mean, there's still issues. I have a friend in Kauai that talked about a major billionaire that flew into Kauai that want to look at some houses, but the local mayor of the town will not allow any showing. So it's different region to region, but you're going to have tough times right now. But I wanted to go back a little bit to what's going on in the economy. And you alluded, Joey, to the U-shaped, V-shaped, W-shaped recovery. It's hard to say, and no one really says, and frankly, a lot of agents have been very fearful to give their opinions. My opinion is very positive of the marketplace. Yes, for the next 30, 60, 90 days, we're going to see a lot of turmoil. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. And as more and more negative headlines come out in the media, like this morning, 3.8 million more job losses in the last week. So when you see those headlines, and of course, the media makes their money by people clicking on their website links, and it says, 3.8 million job losses this week. Of course, people are going to see that headline, panic, and get worried. So I have on my phone in front of me, I have a couple of quick slides I can share. So most of the predictions are for a V-type recovery. Huge precipitous drop the next month or so, or this quarter, the second quarter, actually we're almost done, second and third quarter. But if you look at the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgan, the Morgan Stanley, and the Wells Fargo predictions, they're looking at GDP drops this quarter anywhere from 20 to 32% in terms of drop of growth. However, when you look at their predictions for the third and fourth quarter, aside from Wells Fargo, every single prediction is making predictions of 15, 20, 25% GDP growth in the third and fourth quarter of this year. I'm not afraid to say that because I truly believe in that. And I do think that we're going to recover quickly. There's a lot of depth right now in the amount of unemployment that's going on. I mean, within a couple of weeks, 13, 15 million people unemployed in our country. However, most of those people, 52% of those, are in the service industry of restaurants, bars, and hotels. Those industries will come back once the lift is over. I mean, look at Vegas. Vegas has been shut down for 4 weeks, right? So that's dead. But look, Vegas is going to reopen, right? Everything's going to reopen at some point in time. And right now in front of me, if we look at the 3 different situations, right now the predictions are we've got about 2 years in total from now to recover completely from all the job losses in our economy. If you look at the Great Recession of 2006 to 2016, that was a 9-year recovery. Now, the job loss was not anywhere as severe as it is now. It was much less in terms of job loss, but it took a lot longer for that to recover. And if you look at the Great Depression of the 1920s to the 1940s, they lost, I think, 38% of jobs in that particular period. It took them 12 years to recover. So right now, everyone's predicting 2 years for the job losses to recover, compared to 9 years in the last recession, and then 12 years in the Great Depression. Lastly, if you look at the actual unemployment projections, right now, like I said, in the Depression, it was tremendous amounts. Right now, I have the numbers in front of me. So basically, 2020, we're looking at 15, 17% unemployment. 2021, 6 to 8%. 2022, 5%. and 2023, 4%. So that's Goldman Sachs's predictions for the unemployment. So it's very sharp, very big drop right now, which is most of businesses, things are just shut down. So that's going to happen. But it's going to be a much quicker recovery in terms of unemployment. Another thing that's different than 2008, in 2008, we were $872 billion in housing debt in America, 872 billion. Today, we're $232 billion. That's 72% differential today compared to the pre-crash. And this virus is an external force in the world. Back in 2008, that was an actual housing crash, a market crash, a financial crash. Too many houses I remember in 2007, I had a listing for $899, which was a lower entry level outside of Beverly Hills. We had 75 offers on that home. And out of the 75 offers, more than half of those offers were 0 down or 5% down. Now, we sold that house for 25% over the asking price and it closed. But I remember looking at all those offers and we weren't going to respond to all of them. But I said to my wife, I said, half of these people can really not afford to buy this home. Because if they lose their job in 60, 90 days, they're going to lose that house. So that was a totally different marketplace. But right now, as of the survey a week ago, 50%, 53.8% of all the homes in America have at least 50% equity. That's huge. 53% of all the homes, 50% equity. That's tremendous. 37% of every single home in America is owned free and clear. That's that's 1/3 of every single home in America is owned free and clear. So if no one had a job for the next 10 years, 30% of America or 37%, they still have their home. They have no mortgages. They have 100% equity. So that's a tremendously different factor than it was back in 2007 and 2008. So again, yeah, I have the numbers here. 2008, we were 824 billion in housing debt. Today we're at 232 billion. So it's a huge, huge difference. And if you look at the inventory, right now we're at three months inventory in the US. Back in 2007, we were at 9 months. 2008, we were at 12 months. 2010, we were at over 12 months of inventory. Right now, we're at 3 months inventory in the US. So, it's a supply and demand.
With the lockdown.
Exactly. So supply and demand is another major, major factor. Credit mortgage market indexes. Back in 2007, the mortgage index was 868.7. The mortgage credit index availability. Today we're at 152.1. Huge difference. Money was just flowing out to anybody back in those days. Today's, they learned their lesson. Today, the lenders are much more careful. So, and they have been the last, 7, 8 years or 9 years now. So that's another very important factor. And the last point, I think one last point is back prior to the Great Recession of 2007, 8 plus, we were, if I'm looking at 2000 through 2005, the appreciation was 8.6% in 2000, 6.5 in 2001, 8.5 in 2002, 8.7 in 2003, 12.5% in 2004, and 11.4% in 2005. And I remember in Beverly Hills, we were appreciating 15% a year. And I remember saying, this cannot go on forever. And then the market crashed. Our appreciation the last 5 years since 2014, 4.4%, 5.2, 5.5, 6.4, 4.8, 4.7. So every financial indicator that we're looking at and everything that we're seeing is not the same as 2007, 2008.
And
yes,
it's very close to inflation too. Whatever the market.
We're going to see inflation. There's no question about that. We're going to have inflation. That's going to be a normal part of what's going on.
No, what I mean, the market go up 45%, very close to inflation. So it's really a big jump. It's very normal market.
Exactly.
It's what we call a very healthy.
Exactly.
Economy.
When you compare it to back in the 2000s, 12, 14%, that was too quick, too fast. And when things go up too quick, too fast, it's going to go down even quicker. So I really believe, and I've done quite a number of videos and interviews with the top experts in the mortgage industry and the finance industry, people that study these numbers. And I'm not afraid to put myself out there, right or wrong. We could all be wrong, but I don't believe that's the case. Because most people that I know, I have not seen many of my people that I know that have lost their jobs. Yes, my staff are still working full time since this happened. They're not in the office working, but they're working from home and they're getting paid their full salaries. So I just think that it's going to be tough the next 2-3 months until things really start getting settled. And it's going to take some time to get back to normal or a new normal. But I just don't believe we're going to see a tremendous crash in the marketplace, because I think there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines. And then lastly, we have still the lowest rates in the history of US mortgages. And just prior to the crash, I mean, prior to this new situation, people were refinancing. Even this morning, I was on another call, the highest rate of new mortgage applications again the last couple of weeks. So, I just think we're poised. Once it's basically a pause button. Everyone's put everything on pause right now, and once that pause is lifted, I think we're going to see kind of people flooding back in and wanting to continue the dream of home ownership, which home ownership and owning properties has been the #1 source of wealth in the world and America for the history that I know of. So.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Very
Chris.
good input. No, we need you to come to talk more. Yeah. No, I think after this panel, you will have a lot of followers at your Instagram.
Wonderful. Well, you know what? Like a lot of you do as well. I mean, I still get up every morning. I'm in the office 7:30 every day during the, I mean, I used to be in earlier, but I'm on probably 1 or 2 educational webinars every single day. Every day, if not every 2 days, I am conducting my own webinars with top experts in the industry, whether it's mortgage, market analysts, different people, so that I can get their opinions to share. And I'm consuming all this information, and I'm sharing the information I'm getting, but also my own opinion on it based on my 32 years experience. I mean, and I remember in 1992 or 93, do you guys remember the riots in LA back in 90,
Yes.
whatever year it was?
Mhm.
Well, here I was, a Korean man, Asian man in the middle of Koreatown. The day the riot, I was at my office, my dad's office, and I was watching little TV in my office, and I saw the fires and the things, and it was on Western Avenue, and the buildings in flames. And I'm like, I called my office and I better come home. It was like 12:30. So I get in my car, I have a Mercedes, and I'm driving up Western Avenue at Olympic. And as I'm driving up the street, I see every 2 or 3 buildings away on fire. I see literally, I mean, here I am, there's no cars other than people they were looting. I saw families carrying dining tables across the street from a electronics store with a dining table, TVs on it, and stereos, looting families, like a mother and the kids and the stealing. And I see the fires everywhere, and I'm like, wow. And I thought to myself, this is it. How are we going to ever recover from this, right? But we recovered quickly. So I think we have to have a positive mindset every day. Our job is to be positive for our clients. If things get worse, we'll deal with it. But let's keep hope, positivity, educate ourselves, and not just read the headlines. Whenever my wife says, "Oh my God, did you read this headline?" I read the headline. I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't sound right." And then I read the whole article. And in most cases, the content of the article is different than the headline, right? But what do people do? They scroll on their Facebook. Oh, unemployment is the highest peak in history. Well, we got to know what the details are of that. So, so education to me is critically important, which is why I'm almost busier than usual, because it's an hour or 2 or 3 a day of education, which is great. And thank you guys for doing this to educate your people that watch you and follow you, so that they can go back to their clients and first of all, not be fearful themselves, hopefully have the hope and faith in the future. That we look, we're Americans, we're in America, we're a strong country, we're resilient people. As a planet, we're resilient, and we will get through this. There have been worse things that have happened in the world. We always survive. We're human beings. We will survive this together, supporting each other as we're all doing now, giving our time and efforts to help people get through this.
That's true.
So this is what I see too. I want to add on something to what Christopher said. After that, we're gonna talk about after the what do we think after the recovery. So look at it. The interest rate is like in the mid two for 10-1 arms. Crazy. 10-1 arms mid two. Even 1-7 arm. 7-1 arm is even cheaper. And then this is we talk about mid of 2, in the mid 2, crazy. So for 30 years is about low 3, no brainer. You have at least 20% discount on the mortgage monthly payment. So who else does not want to go out and buy? And I'm not kidding. We are buying. I'm extremely busy. I'm actually 30% more busier than before. Of course, a lot of people worry about bank not financing. We still financing. I still close my purchase in 8 to 10 days, 15 days. purchase business, we're closing it. We still close the refinance in 30 days. But one thing that a lot of banks actually out there are stop actually lending for cash out, because the bank want to stop. A lot of banks stop lending for cash out for refinance because they do not want to take the risk by giving out more money. But think about it. Think about it. We burn how much money we burn the Federal Reserve. We talk about $4 to $5 trillion into the market. What happened? Where is the money gonna go? The money is not gonna disappear. It means the money is too cheap out there. Too much money on the street. Ended up, they're gonna come back and buy real estate. So if you're jumping in it down, it means that you're buying a stock in that maybe that month ago. I remember March 22nd, it was the cheapest ever. We talked about almost 50, 60%. If a big company, we talk about 30% discount. The last call that I talked about those was actually a Black Friday sales on equity market. You have money, you go buy. Whatever you bought like 3 weeks ago, like during that day, I remember Ocean Tesla was 350. Yesterday, last night, Tesla was almost 880.
Yeah.
This within 1 month, you double your wow. So you don't wait until say, hey, everyone go out to buy real estate. Then you go out to buy real estate. By the time you already missed the boat. But now maybe, okay, I'm not 100% sure because I have still seeing a lot of multiple offer for most of the contract that I am doing the escrow for the loan. So I see multiple offer. If the property is good, in a good location, everything's good, I see multiple offer. I have more than transaction that I had before. My total transaction is maybe 30% more than what I had before the crazy moment pandemic. So I see the market is hot, and then especially the rate. I think mainly is, yes, go ahead, Chris.
I think people in life have a short attention span. You know, people, what's first in their mind? Oh my God, the crash of 2007, 2008. That's closest in our mind. And, you know, some of you are much younger than I am. I'm going to be 52 years old this year. So when I started,
I'm very close. I'm very close to 50. Okay, I look young, but I'm not
good.
young.
That's our Asian blood, right? So, but if you look back in 89, 88, 89, when I started, and I didn't know any, I was 18 years old starting in real estate, interest rates were 17, 18%. But yet people were buying houses. But now if you compare, if you borrow $1 million mortgage, which today might be, I don't know, $7,000 a month in a payment, if you figure that's 5 times that amount back in the 80s, that same mortgage would have been $21,000 a month. But, you know, I remember back, you know, before this all happened, when rates went up a year ago, you know, up a quarter point or up a half a point, I was like, oh, I don't want to buy now because the rates went up. I'm like, are you kidding me? Rates are still 4.5%, 5%. You're not going to buy? I mean, at some point again, probably in our lifetimes, we will probably see rates again that high. And we refinanced our house 4 or 5 months ago, but when the rates dropped, you know, a month ago, just before the things got shut down, I said, well, let's refinance again, right? You know, it's because, you know, a half a point or the point differential on a big mortgage is a lot of money. I mean, I did a video a month ago about how a 1 point differential on $1 million mortgage over 30 years, I think was $288,000 difference in savings. That's a huge amount of savings. So again, people got to stop this little short, you know, attention span of, oh, this and that, and it's going up a quarter point. That's nonsense. I mean, you know, I'm glad we bought all the real estate when we did. I only wish we would have bought more real estate over the years because I wouldn't have to work so hard every day.
Yeah.
And I love
even myself, Chris.
Yeah,
I refinanced 3 times within 1 year.
Some of the buildings
last year, 3 times.
Yeah. Some of the buildings I bought over the years were listings that I had. I mean, just one quick example. I had a listing back in 1999. It was an 8-unit building in Silver Lake for $350,000 for 8 units. Low rents, below market rents, 1940s building, but I thought it was a good buy. And we had lots of offers, but the seller would not sell for $6,000 difference. He wanted $347 and everyone wanted to pay $340. So I finally said, I'll just buy it. We bought the building, you know, 1999, I think it was. And we paid off the mortgage a year ago. And now that building is worth $2.7 million. We own it free and clear. We have $140,000 income. I only wish if I went back and bought every single listing I didn't sell, I'd be so rich right now, I wouldn't be doing this call speaking.
No, you will share more.
That's
so
true.
Question,
True.
Yeah. So Sean, no, what do you think about, based on experience, what do you think if this pandemic over, the lockdown is over, what do you see, Sean?
Yeah, I think Christoph did a great job at kind of summing up some of the data and statistics. I think while I like him, I'm optimistic about the way that we're all going to recover. I think I have a slightly different angle on this. All of the stats that Christoph quoted were the result of financial crisis. They were economic market conditions that affected what occurred in terms of recessions. What we're experiencing right now is a little bit different, and there's a two-pronged factor. The reason that it's different is because this is not a financial crisis yet, it's a health crisis. This is an issue that needs to be compared to other pandemics, not market-related crashes that were the result of a bad market system or a financial system that was corrupted somehow or just wasn't being run well for whatever reason. In the scenario that we're in now, we have a very specific pandemic health issue that's at bay that we need to deal with. The good news is everything that Christoph shared is still relevant, and all the numbers are still the numbers, and we want to be realistic about what those numbers are. But I think in looking historically at what economic occurrences happened after health crises hit, we can learn a little bit. And so looking, we don't have much history on this. That's part of the reason that these statistics aren't being shared, is because there's just not a lot of data along these kinds of lines, because we weren't in an era of big data when the last huge pandemic hit the world, right? We're talking 1939, 1918, we had Spanish flu, things like that. But we can get some indicators regarding how health crisis affects economy long-term. And so in light of that, I think that we will see a capitulation. We're going to roll out of the shelter in place. We're going to see the economies ramp back up, but very similar to other financial crises, even the one that we most recently experienced in 2009, 10, 11. Very similar to that, we will see some of these jagged W type situations. The biggest factor that I think that we need to be aware of is what I'm calling the toilet paper factor. How many of us would have predicted that toilet paper would be the thing that flew off the shelves and that was scarce and that we couldn't get? There was no indication that this particular health crisis would require toilet paper to be a thing that was missing. And it was totally unrelated to anything that was based in reality, but it was absolutely related to people's fear and what they thought was going to occur. It had nothing to do with reality. And so we need to be aware that a health crisis like the one that we're in isn't always responded to by the public with regard to what is. If fear kicks in the public eye, we will experience another jag, right? We're gonna see the jag, and it affects the markets. So I'm calling it the toilet paper effect. You guys can quote that or not. We will likely see fear kick back in anytime, if, let's just say, for example, Governor Newsom lifts statewide the shelter-in-place orders, and then 3 weeks later we see a spike in coronavirus infections. What we will see then is likely he will roll back, right? He'll probably say, "Hey, we need to go back." I don't know if you guys have seen the stages of rollouts, but there's 4 stages they've outlined. It's good. It seems reasonable. It seems cautious, and it also seems like, hey, we're trying to get to this. We're trying to make this happen. However, one of the worst things that could occur for us, and I'm not trying to be negative here, and I'll talk about that in a minute too, because Christoph hit on it, and it's fantastic. But one of the worst things that could occur for us is that we get released from shelter-in-place orders, and then they decide to roll it back and put us under shelter again relatively soon, because that can create a public perception that will affect the markets. So that said, we are not currently in a financial crisis. We are in a health crisis. However, sheltering in place, like you guys have all heard, we've all heard the numbers if we've been paying attention. $2.8 billion a day in California is being lost from us sheltering. A lot of that is the result, like Christoph mentioned, and I think you mentioned it as well, Chou, restaurants, airplanes, sports events, concerts. It's all the big public events, right? And combined with some of the travel industry stuff. That's causing us to lose the income that is normally generated. And like Christoph said, and I think again, Chou, I can't remember, my brain's kind of mixing up who said what right now, but the jobless factor is a huge one, and it needs to be dealt with. However, it's not as concerning as the numbers would indicate. If this was a financial crisis and we had the jobless claims, initial jobless claims, that would be a phenomenal. That would be a number that we would not overcome. That would be like, hey, there's gonna be a revolution in a couple of years. This thing's over. I don't think we're there. And like Christoph said, one of the key takeaways that Christoph mentioned, I think, is mindset. And it's the ability to stay positive in the midst of what we're into right now. So long-term effects in terms of market conditions, long-term effects, I think we're going to see some capitulation, some W effects, like Matt pointed out, using the letters, what kind of a recovery will we experience? I don't think we're going to see a straight V. I don't think we're going to see a long curved U or a check mark, right? I think it's going to be a little more W, but overall, I think it will be up and to the right, the way that we like to see charts go. I think we will see a good outcome. And again, anybody that is trying to say with certainty that they know exactly what's going to occur, we're all guessing because of that toilet paper factor. We're all guessing. We don't know exactly how the public's going to respond, and we don't know how the media is going to report. We don't know what headline they're going to use to get attention, and we don't know how many people are not going to read the full article in order to get the whole context of what the headline was about. So that said, all in all, we will very likely experience this W kind of capitulation upward, and then capitulation down again, and then upward, kind of long-term success. In order to overcome all of it, regardless of what we think the market's going to do, it doesn't change the daily behavior of the average realtor. Christoph, man, he's a baller. He's big numbers, big houses. I'm a little more street. My brokerage, our average price points, probably just under $1 million. We do some of the big stuff too, don't get me wrong, but I think average agents in my brokerage were probably somewhere around the 900 mark in terms of average price point. So
still
it's
a
just
big number.
but yeah, that's still a great number, right? According from the rest of the nation, that's still like phenomenal, but we can't all be Christoph Chou. So Christoph, you don't know this. I have an advantage over you right now. My first management gig was with Coldwell Banker, and I've been in rooms with you, but I've never reached out. And you actually have a personal story that, like, how you got started in real estate and your background, that is really compelling. And I have nothing but respect for you. So I just throw that out there, because if I come across like I'm disagreeing with anything, it's with nothing but respect and love for you and your story. Your story is amazing.
Well, next time, Sean, when we get back to a real live conference again, instead of these Zoom conferences, let's meet in person.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
Yeah.
We all have our stories, right?
Yeah.
And my story did not begin in luxury in Beverly Hills. It was not like that. So
this is so fantastic to be on the panel with you guys. Truly an honor. Yeah. I don't know if I answered your question, or if you have another one for me, Chou, but I'm happy to keep talking if you want.
Yeah, that's why this is what I see generally. In order to be a successful realtor, you have to do what you're doing. Don't listen to other people say. You have to keep focusing. You have to have a faith. When you don't have a faith, you don't see lights. You're always in the tunnel. You have to see the light at the end of the tunnel before you can walk up from the tunnel. This is what I do. I'm very optimistic. I am very optimistic on my life. So look at Mike is doing a terrific job in his areas in Giver Valley. So Christopher, look at it, luxury home. He's still selling it, still doing what he's doing. And your agent definitely doing what he's, doing. Everyone is doing very good. So this is what I see. If you're very successful, if you're not successful, or maybe you're a young realtor, you have to attach yourself to one of the top elite producers, so they can actually give you the right energy. So what I said before on the first panelist, I say, if you think that those people are dragging you down, stay away from that people.
For real.
No good. Yeah. You have to stay with the good synergy people. That's why, let's say today I'm not a lot producer. Then I say, hey, come on, I'll humble myself. Chris, show me something. Tell me something. Or join you in the morning to hear what you do for living every day. Your daily thing, right? So join those people. You see those people doing, come on, even though he's very successful, look at it. He get out in the morning, try to share his tips with people. And, just join. And when you do, when you connect with the right synergy people, you actually grow up together. Right. So yeah, I watch, even myself, I believe you watch some drama, we watch TV, but we don't watch TV for the whole day, maybe 1 hour per day, because you have to spend some time, make sure you're successful, but don't forget about your family. family is very important to keep you moving forward. So we still have to do time management, do everything. So this is what you're successful, because you're very successful in time management. Well, I might say that, I do cold calling. I block up my time, I do cold calling. I call 20 of it. If I got something, I got something. If I don't got something, tomorrow I'll keep calling. But a lot of people, a lot of not what we call the rookie, they're not doing the right pattern. That's why they do not see the result that you guys putting in. Yeah, you can't. But 1%, 5% is excellent result, excellent return. Yeah, as today I have 100 loan in process.
Wow.
100 in process.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I still have her. I'm very thankful. Praise the Lord.
Troy, there's one question for you, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was saying thank you, Troy, for co-host to help me to arrange all the questions. You are the top lenders all around here, or all around the States. So there's a question for you. What do you think about Wells Fargo announcing today that they are not accepting new home equity line due to uncertain conditions? That's why you're busy.
Okay. So yeah, there's a few lenders, as I said, they stopped the cash out refinance. And then of course, I came from Wells Fargo, so I'm very familiar with Wells Fargo, but I want to give a big picture overall. Lately, the bank are actually scared. They didn't want to take risks. They worry about this thing might actually come back and bite them in another 6 months, 7 months if people keep losing job. So banks are very conservative, very, very. They are trying to, especially Wells Fargo. I always say good thing about Wells Fargo, and I love the company. I left this because what happened, the scandal that happened to 2.5 years. I took almost with 30, 40 people, we all left together to come to US Bank and set up a new division in US Bank with my big boss. So, but in my eye, I know that they're not doing the business right now, but remember during 2008, it happened to Wells Fargo too. So 2008, he shined away before the crash. So Wells Fargo rates was slightly higher than Bank of America, slightly higher than WAMU, Washington Mutual, which now Chase. So everyone was not going to Wells Fargo. So when everyone went to Chase and Bank of America, which is what do they call? I forgot the name. Chris, do you still remember? Before Bank of America.
Countrywide.
Countrywide, yes. Because during that, Countrywide was doing a stated income, 100%. I remember friends of mine telling me they work with Countrywide. If we brought in a food doc loan to Countrywide, they throw it away. They only take the page 1 and page 2, what we call loan application fee, loan application form. They don't want paperwork. If we bring it with the paperwork food doc, the rate is higher. 0.125 higher. They want stated income. So they want to go close the loan within 2 days. So that's why during the time, Wells Fargo was not taking all the loan. You know what happened when 2008, when what we call shit hit the fence? Countrywide went to toilet. WAMU went to toilet. One WAMU went down, zero. The stock becomes zero if you hold WAMU. Yeah, some of I bought 1,000 share WAMU is still now back to zero. So those companies are very aggressive. But when you're aggressive enough, you pay for it. You have to pay for it one day. So what I see, Wells Fargo, I think is only temporarily because they have to protect themselves. They were actually blocking not be able to do business for the last 2 years by Federal Reserve. So Federal Reserve want them to keep their reserve in order to do more lending and not having them to expand. This is not fair. You want me to help people PPP and you want me to help A, B, C, D, E, but you tell me I cannot grow my business. How am I gonna bring in more customers to bring more reserve? So because of the scandal, the opening account thing, they're being blocked, they're being watched like hawk for doing wrong thing. But this is only one party. But when you took a long term, trust me, that company is very blessed in my eye. I look at things differently. I don't say that, oh, because they got blocked down, I'm happy I got more loans. But no, but look at long term for the company, they're blessed in my eye. So out there, everyone's still lending. But one thing, like even US Bank, we used to do a 10% down, no PMI. no PMI. We lend you from our own balance sheet from a private bank. What happened last week? We added a PMI. We added the PMI because we are still lending our money, private bank money to the customer, to the consumer. But we want to make sure that we're being protected, because back then we know that this 10% down, they have a good job. They work for Google, they work for Tesla, they work for Snapchat. So we know that they're getting stock. We know that they're having a good job. We know that they're not going to foreclose because those young professionals. We love to bet on those young professionals. But now we say that, hey, the management say, you know what, even young professional, we want to be careful. We'll have to add on PMI. That PMI for $1 million home, how much? $130 per month. And this thing can be removed after that. When you have 20% equity, you can remove it. Call customer service, they remove it with a proof of appraisal report, that's all. So I keep telling people, a lot of people say that I have no 20%, 10%, go ahead. I have 15%. We can fund up to $1.25 million with a PMI. Go ahead, buy it. Yeah, you have to buy what you have to buy, because otherwise you regret. Like I regretted, Snapchat was $7 on March 22. But I was talking with Ocean and all the buddy on the panel. I missed that day. Now Snapchat $17 within like 1 month. Come on, you double. Wow, that's why I know momentum. You have to understand the economy. But when people scared, you have to make a smart choice. You have to invest. Like Chris, remember you invest in the 8 unit, $300,000. I can't even buy a toilet from you now. So look at it. You have to keep buying, and also especially real estate agent, partner, realtor. I always tell them, don't only sell. When there's a good opportunity, keep one for yourself so you can retire. And in the morning, 6 o'clock, you can wake up in the morning and you teach people what to do.
Right.
Smart idea.
So yeah, this is the momentum, because I don't want to see my partner work until like 80 years old. I'm still working for money. Well, no, you 80 years old, you're still working, but you're working for fun. You're working for helping others to grow. This is what I see. Yeah.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you. And Charlene.
Yes.
I know you've been like since 2015, I believe, right? And your office, there's a lot of agents, my client, my customer. So, and then I think Sam introduced me to you, and I know you. And then later on, I come to your office. You're very, very busy, and your agents line up in front of your office door. And as everyone knows, your office is like a different cultures office. You have Asian, you have different cultures agent. How you manage your office and your time also? Can you share with us?
So I've been in the business since '94, and when I came over to this company 9 years ago, it was a different dynamic here. Currently, right now, I have about 52% of our agents are Asians. We do about 40% of our sales are with foreign nationals. We're extremely busy. We do over $1 billion in sales a year. We've done that for the last 5 years. And that's a hard number to reach in Orange County, especially because our average before the last couple of years was in the mid 800s, and now it's in the mid 900s is our median. So it's gone up. I have about 380 agents. Many of them are, producing, and, our top 10%, are very self-sufficient. We offer a lot of, like what Christoph was saying, is you have to educate yourself daily. You have to be the top of mind. You have to be current. You have to be flexible with what's happening in our marketplace. And when we saw the Asian market leave the US, we had to pivot immediately to figure out what's happening with, the embassy closing, and, how do we fix that with grant deeds. And as we know, there's a temporary, in Washington State, they're temporary allowing virtual signings. So, those are things that we as, brokers have to really pay attention to on how to help our agents with getting these questions answered.
Okay. And
yeah,
also,
I'm being helped. I'm being helped too. That's why what Charlene mentioned just now, I think it's very important for those actually doing a business while clients stuck overseas. So lately I closed a deal that the wife stuck in China, and then I'm using the Washington State virtual notary to do a POA signing. So maybe they can Charlene, maybe you can share the information. But I did close the loan by using that service because the wife got stuck in China. So I hope that maybe you can share with a lot of people, and then we have a lot of people here at the group. They can also learn how to solve this problem.
Definitely. I think the signing is fine with WeChat. The problem is the postal service. So that's been a delay because of, everybody is shipping things now. So the postal service, instead of FedExing and receiving it within, a week, now it's about 2 weeks. So there's a delay in receiving these grant deeds back. So that's been a problem. So we're kind of teaching our agents that, we have to go out and get new business. And, how can we go out there and get new business? And because things are so different now, it's the touches, and I think connecting with our current clients and then asking for their business and really finding out what they're doing will help the agents get a little bit more business. Because I think everyone is panicking on what's going to happen in the next 30 days.
So for my suggestion too, that you talk about postal office, I actually had a urgent file that I need to close quickly. The client actually FedEx it from Italy. I took it 4 days for me to receive the package. Great. 4 days. So do not save money if you're dealing with $1 million, a property that is so precious. You don't deal with US Postal. It's gonna take them 2 weeks. By the time you need to record it, you probably lose the thing, and they do not have tracking. And for using FedEx and UPS, you have a clean tracking. Right. I hardly hear anything that UPS and FedEx they lost a package. So pay for I think you don't be cheap. We're dealing with very important purchase things. So yeah, I always tell the client, go FedEx, go UPS. Yeah. So Ocean, do you have anything that you want to add on for everybody?
There's another question for you. Okay, you can find it on Q&A. It's as a lender, your lender underwrites rest, recount the employment history if borrowers who have been flogged or laid off but go back to work to the same employers. This question is at you.
Me? Let me look at it.
Yeah. In the meantime, I think.
Somehow I don't see that question.
You know what? Let's skip it, and then later on I'll find it. And
at the bottom, click on the Q&A next to your share screen.
Yeah, I want to talk about some marketing because I know Christopher is very good at the online marketing stuff. And how many accounts you have like on social media, Christopher?
How many accounts?
How many social media accounts? You post WeChat very often.
I typically post between 4. Under the COVID lately, it's more like 4 to 5 times a day. Before that, when I was going to parties and events and lunches, it was like 8 to 10 times a day. So it's less. And for we started last week, but for 4 or 5 weeks, we did not post any properties. I mean, no listings, nothing. I just felt it was not the right time. So we started that again last week. So in terms of accounts, I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have a personal and business. I have my LinkedIn account. I have my personal Facebook. I have my business Facebook. I have, I think, 24 Facebook pages on Facebook. And then I have, God, I don't remember. I have WeChat. I have Snapchat. I have Pinterest. I have, Google business accounts, Restless accounts, TikTok, Tumblr, IGTV. I mean, pretty much anything that's out there, I have an account on those platforms. YouTube, of course. But you got to be out there as much as you can. You never know where your buyer or seller is going to come from. So, I just post content that's real and true to me. You like it or you don't. If you like it, you're going to call me. If you don't, you won't, and that's okay.
Everything you manage by yourself.
My social media, I do manage it myself.
Wow.
I have had marketing directors and people do it before, but the issue is, I truly believe with social media has to come from the heart and has to be really what you feel inside. So I post usually first thing in the morning, something positive, a flower, a tree, something about gratitude and nature. Then I usually post a great quote of some kind to kind of get people's day started with some positivity. Then I'll post a property midday, late morning, or a property video. Then in the early afternoon, I'll post something else. So late afternoon, I'll post another quote. Usually in the evening, I'll post something more personal, with my family, my dogs, my garden. So yeah, I post whatever. If I get the inspiration to post about something, I'll post it. That's just, but it's got to be I like to do real-time postings, meaning, my wife will take a picture at a party and she'll post it 3 days later. I want to take a picture at the party and post it now while I'm there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But everyone's different. I think you have to do what's in your heart and what feels right to you and what people that follow you will respond to. And I try to do silly things, like sometimes show myself like with my hair messed up or whatever, because then people can relate to me more naturally. Because if they don't know me, they don't know my personality, but they might say, oh, there's that bougie, blasé, Beverly Hills, blingy guy with the diamonds, but they don't know that I'm a really down-home country guy that likes family and friendships and simple life and kindness. And it's not, yeah, that's the exterior, that I like nice things, but that's not who I am inside. So I try to share that. And particularly lately, it's interesting to me, every day I get so many comments about my quotes that I post. People like it helped them get through the day or made them feel better, or they were having a bad day and they really needed that particular quote that moment. And I just share what's like, if I wake up in the night, this morning I was kind of stressed out and upset, and I get over it quickly, but I was upset. So I looked for a quote that was reflective of what was in my mind, and I shared that particular quote. And I think it's important to always share what's in your heart. So like the quote this morning, as an example, let me see if I can find it real quick. Here it is. It says, if I've learned anything in life, it's that sometimes the darkest times can bring us to the brightest places. I've learned that our most painful struggles can grant us the most necessary growth. I've learned that no matter how difficult things seem, there's always hope. And I've learned that no matter how powerless we feel or how horrible things seem, we can't give up. So that's what I was feeling, because I was feeling a little bit I shouldn't say hopeless, a little bit discouraged is a more proper word. I don't feel hopeless. I just felt discouraged, and I'm still working every single day. It's much harder to make deals and keep deals in escrow and keep things moving forward than it was before. I come to the office, but I have no staff here to help me. I'm used to having staff right here and giving them things to do and watching over it. They're not here. They're working from home, and it's not as productive as it is normally when I'm on top of them. So I just was feeling a little bit of, not despair, but just stress and anxiety. So I just shared what I was feeling, which so far has helped a lot of other people. So I think that's, just share from your heart.
All right. Thank you, Christopher. You're the social media king.
I have a question for Christoph. Can I ask him a question?
Yeah.
Christoph, you literally are the social media king, and I'm just wondering, do you use an app like Hootsuite to post everywhere at once, or are you a little more selective?
Good question. So I did try Hootsuite for a while. I don't like Hootsuite. I do not use Hootsuite because, again, with Hootsuite, for example, let's say you wanted to connect to your Instagram and your Facebook. They're different platforms, different ways of words. So I did it for a while. I did not like it. Look, when I come up with a post, first I'll come up with the concept. I usually take the photos or have the photos in my phone. I then create what I want to say. I'll type it up or voice transcribe it. And then I will post it on the platform. Typically, by the time I post it on Instagram personal, and then sometimes my business, and then the story, and then the other story, and this and that, it might take me 7 to 12, 14 minutes to do one post on all the platforms. Right. So, it does take time. So typically if I'm doing 4 or 5 a day, that's an hour or so out of my day. But typically I will do that like as I'm walking to the elevator, or, I try to block out that time. So, but I do it all myself, and I don't like that. And from what I understand, if you post from those kinds of places to the different, online places, you're not going to get as many views. For whatever reason, those places don't like outside things coming in.
It's the new algorithms with all of the platforms. Right. They know where it's coming from, and if it's not authentic, It's crazy. Even the digital social media platforms are looking for authenticity. Go
Exactly.
figure.
So even like Facebook, for example, I learned I've been doing videos for 14, 15 years. I learned many years ago, I never post a video URL from YouTube to Facebook, because you're not going to, if you post a URL on Facebook that's not, in the platform, they don't like it. They're not going to let people see it.
Yeah.
So I always upload the video directly to Facebook. So those kinds of things you have to kind of know about, but yeah. And even like if you do a posting with the website link to a website, I've also learned that, put the post and then put in the first comment the link to the website, because if you put the website link in the post, you're going to get a lot fewer people viewing that post. So yeah, so I just do it specifically on that platform as you go. Take the extra time.
Great. I actually have a question for Chou and Catherine. If you guys can answer one, is it okay, or do you want me to type it and you guys can vet it?
No, I could answer.
So, I mean, we know interest rates are historically low, right? I mean, we're nearly at zero, but it seems to me, and I'm just a guy who manages an office that does a fair amount of production, but it seems to me that the numbers aren't really getting to the street in terms of interest rates. So do you guys anticipate some kind of breakthrough where the mortgage rates being as low as they are truly are reflected in mortgage rates? Do you guys expect that to happen?
I think the rate is coming down slowly for sure, but I don't think the rate gonna go to zero. If the rate go to zero, I'm not kidding. You should go buy today. Now immediately, go out and get 10 property now immediately, because when a rate is zero, look at rent is more expensive than a real estate. Owning a real estate, who else does not want to go to get a property, right? So look at it, property in certain area, and we're not talking about Beverly Hills, area, right? We talk about 20, 25% down. So in other places, look at it. In Southern California, I love Southern California. You basically can get 3% down, up to $510,000 loan. You can get 5% down, up to $765,000 loan, 5% down payment. And 10% down, you can get up to $1 million. Come on. This is a moment. If you can qualify, you should go get a house. You should not rent, because eventually, you hear what Chris said? From $300,000 to $3 million, eventually. But of course, time's the healer, because you need to hold real estate. You need to hold a real estate in long term. But I don't think rate gonna go down to 1% or 0%, because the interest rate is being traded in the secondary market as what we call mortgage-backed security. What we call mortgage industry is not residential mortgage, is not actually funded by Federal Reserve. It's not funded by Federal Reserve. It's what we call mortgage-backed security. Who control mortgage-backed security, which is life insurance? Will life insurance take the bond, $1 million, pay you 0.1% interest? They rather use the money and invest in the equity market. Why I want to lend it to you 1%? Right. If I can use the 1% to make 4 or 5% per day. Now, look at what happened. In the morning, you go out 450 points yesterday. When it closed, it's closed down 50 negative. It means one day 500 point differences. We talk about at least 4 to 5% on each equity. Why should I give it to you the money for free? Banks are not stupid. Banks rather keep the money and do their own thing. But unfortunately, that's the way that the mortgage rate is actually controlled by secondary market, is demand and supply. And about a month ago, rate was 4% when bond market crashed during that day, within 30 minutes on one Friday before the Sunday, they announced the 0%. So within 30 minutes, 9 o'clock to 9:30, interest rate went up from 3.25 for refinance to 4.5 within 30 seconds, because they ran out of money. Is demand and supply. So rate is not gonna go down, but eventually it go down by little. Maybe like it might go down to 2.875, which is now is about 3, low 3 for 30-year fixed. But look at ARM actually 2 point something, but 2 point something. Look at it. 6 months ago, we talked about 6 months ago. If you put $200,000 money market, you got 2.5. Agree? 6 months ago, before the market crash. So now you actually can lend for, you could borrow for 2.5% for the 10-1 ARM. This
Right.
is crazy. No
Crazy
brainer.
number. Yeah, crazy. We're never going to see this in our lifetime, or at least I hope we don't, because if we do, that means there's something horrible that has happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
But look at what happened in Japan. 30 years. I shared with everyone last time. 30 years, Japan has zero interest. If you put money, if you put money savings in Japan, you have to pay them. You have to pay the bank. So look at Japanese economy, it's still growing, but slowly. But I think, in long term, I think, I don't know I'm right or not, but you guys can mark my word. I think in long term, our economy will go toward that kind of economy, because economy become globalization. It's not like before United States, you can actually do your own thing and then you shine like a hero. Not anymore, because now everything connected. China is connected, Russia is connected, Saudi Arabia is connected, Middle Eastern is all connected. But why that we are so strong lately? Because all the money is coming to the United States.
You're right.
Because they're so fearful to hold their own currency. So everything is flowing to the United States. That's why even though we have pandemic, we have the most people get infected in the whole world. But look at what happened. Our stock market is still one of the best. It dropped by maybe 15 to 20%. So these economies got to keep going, and it will fly when this thing over. It will fly. It'll soar like an eagle. Because there's $4 to $5 trillion out there for everyone to invest something that will be long term. So I want to add this two questions. Let me answer the first question. The second question, it go to Matt for Perla. The first one, they asked me, after if they have been furloughed and laid off, if they go back to the same employer, or if you go back to the same employer or you find a new job, it will not reset your employment history. We're still gonna fund you. If you have furlough, let's say you have a furlough knowing that you're going back full time let's say in June 1st, we still fund the loan. We just need to talk to HR. Hey, Mr. ABC, will this Mr. ABC will return on June 1st? If we can confirm from HR that you're returning from June 1st, we're gonna fund the loan. So there's no delaying funding a loan unless your employer say, no, we under furlough, we're gonna follow this employee. We do not have comeback date yet. If we do not have the date to come back, it means your income is not being a full income. Therefore, we cannot close the loan until you actually back or have a confirmation to be back in certain date. So that's my question. So Matt, they have a question for you. So they say, what you have said, that the recent activity has impacted the market as a whole. How do you think this reason affected this thing affected LA downtown market and Pearl in particular? And they said that whether do you think that Pearl will drop the price in the unit, or will they come up with more incentive program to attract more agent and buyer to actually to purchase the Pearl?
I think Matt's gone for right now.
Mexican. So, but I remember he said, okay, he did say that, we still actually selling. You're wrong if you think that we're discounting, you're wrong. So that's what I heard. I think that everyone hear the same thing. So
let's wait him a
is not dropping the price.
Let's wait him a little bit. I want ask a question for Mike.
Charlene, Mike. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you go ahead, ask Charlene first, and then I ask Mike. Mike, wait for my questions.
Okay.
So no, I have no question for Charlene. Charlene, do you have anything you want to throw in?
No, I think that we're all on the same page as far as, our opinion on the market. I think we all just need to keep a positive, thought process through this, because every day changes. The governor spoke today and he shut our beaches down again. So Newport Beach, we're shut down, and tomorrow could be something different. So we just have to be positive and be safe.
Last
I'm
week,
glad he did that, because I thought they should not have opened them in the first place. But who am I to say?
I don't know how to say it, because last week
LA versus Orange County right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, you get the classic Orange County, like, well, the government shouldn't tell me what to do, versus kind of going like, hey man, we need to shelter. Like, or I'm in Diamond Bar, so like I touch all the different thoughts and melting pots of intelligence. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, You ready for my questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes we did same thing about the event. The new I do a lot of event for the builders, and you did a lot of event for your listings. We call gala event, but under this COVID-19 situation, we can't do the event, right? So how you promote your listing? How to do your farming for the listings?
I think it's it's pretty straightforward. Something that I touched on earlier is just doing the 3D walkthrough.
3D.
We still have the videos, of course. We still do. It's become a basic thing that you have to do for every single listing now. The 3D, the 3D walkthrough, the 2D layout, the videos. My staff is still fully employed. I have 3 assistants. They're still helping me. We're still keeping busy. And so I have my social media video director who does all of that for me. So every not every single listing, but almost every listing that we're taking on now, those are the basic requirements that we have. Social media, we're still getting a lot of leads from social media. Something I wanted to add to Christoph, to your social media. I have, we do keep track of some statistics, and that's the key, right? To knowing your growth is making sure you keep track of these stats. We have this one we spent, I believe. I'll check on that. But we had about this ad ran about a week. We had about 1,246 impressions of views. We had 75 clicks. This is just for Facebook, and we have 4 leads from that.
Wow.
We have 4 potential leads for that, and this is a property in Alhambra. We ran an ad on Google as well. There was 9,700, same ad on Google, 9,730 impressions, views, 444 clicks, but no leads, 0. So
Wow.
Facebook is still our top lead generator. We have Instagram, same ad. We had 3,227 impressions, 84 clicks, and 2 leads, 2 potential buyers. So, and we also did it on Waze as well. To Waze, we had 120 clicks and 1 lead from that same Alhambra. A lot of views. I don't know if this is correct. This is 30,000. Could be correct. I'm not sure. That's a lot.
I'm curious, Mike. Were you promoting a video of the property or a photo of the property? What was the actual content?
It's actually just it's just a photo. So it's not even a video. It's just a photo.
Okay.
And all I put was we just sold this unit in Alhambra. And are you ready to sell? Contact me. So very straightforward.
And what did you budget for the Instagram and for the Facebook? Like, what did you spend? $300, $500, $100? What was your budget on that?
Actually, the total that I spent for this one was $100.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
How many impressions for $100? That's well done.
Great.
A lot of impressions. Plus, we got I think 6 or 7 leads. From that, of course, only like a couple of them are pretty decent. The other ones are, either you can't, I didn't make this inquiry, or get a lot of those online, of course. But it's still not bad, So $100, I would say $2 leads.
yes. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Choi, I think Matt is back.
All right, guys, I had an appointment. Knocking on the door. I wasn't. She was a little early. I had to go check them in. So apologize. It sounds like I missed a question.
No worry. The questions I answered for you. You just give me 1% of your commission. I'm just kidding. I cannot. Unfortunately, you just have to give me a cup of coffee from Blue Bottle. I'm not greedy. So the question is, hey, it's due to the recent impact of the activity in downtown LA. Do you see builder is dropping the price in the unit per unit, and then do you think that the builder will come up with incentive program to attract more buyer and agents? I think this one's agent, they want more commission, it seems like.
I mean, they're good questions. I think I kind of alluded to them a little earlier, and that's we're still several months from finishing construction, so we're still technically in pre-construction. And I think, you know, I'm sure most of you are familiar with how new construction works. Anytime we release, you know, a year, 2 years prior to the close of escrow, you've got to incentivize the buyers to plop down a deposit and write a hard contract. So we're still in pre-construction pricing. Everyone up to this point, we think's gotten a good deal. I mean, the goal has always been, once we get closer to opening and can actually tour people into the building, to maybe raise prices then, or at least pull back on any incentives. So we do have an incentive program currently. I think maybe there's a little wiggle room. I'm not the seller, but in terms of any offers, we're not taking any offers below asking price. However, there's some back-end incentives that I think over the next maybe month or two, while we kind of still figure things out, it's a good time to buy, because you know, the seller might be willing to incentivize someone a little bit more than they would have, you know, a month or two ago. In terms of like HOA credits, closing credits, those kind of deals. So yeah, we're confident in our pricing. We think people have gotten a good deal, and frankly, it's kind of reflected in the fact that with 200 buyers, over 200 buyers, no one's backed out, or no one's really wanted to back out, because they do know that they got a good deal. I know we had planned, and you know, we kind of release in collections. And as we get closer and closer, I mean, you look across the street, our sales office is across the street from the development. And as it goes, it's getting unveiled kind of by the day. And Shoei, you've driven by every once in a while, and you call me.
I was there last week.
Okay.
I drove by last week.
Right? So to answer your question, no, we're not doing any fire sales, or we're not giving any steep discounts. We feel confident in our pricing, and you know, we've gotten a few sales in the last couple of weeks now, so at full asking. So I wouldn't expect any huge deals off of what our pricing currently is at. Hope that answers that. And I believe other new construction projects in downtown, there's a couple others, they're doing the same thing into their pricing.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Thank you.
So any other thing there?
You know,
Ocean, you have any other thing that you think that?
Now, before we conclude the webinar, I'd like to thank you, our sponsor again. You know, Shanghai Construction Group American. Don't forget to check their new project, Perla, on Broadway in downtown. All right, and
Please
also,
do it.
Yeah.
And call me for any.
Where am I at?
I also want to thank you, Open Bank Mortgage, Premium Investment, Atlantic Escrow, and Chou Home Team, US Bank.
Woo.
Yeah. But last but not least, I would like to have every panelist to address all of our attendees with an encouraging message. Let's start, lady first, Charlene.
Great. Well, thanks again for inviting me to be part of this panel, and just appreciate all of you. I just want to leave with this to everyone. Just make sure, just stay focused and don't get rattled by the what ifs out there. We control our business, and then we decide.
Thank you, Charlene. Christopher?
So I love what you said, Charlene. And I think also every day, don't get caught up in the fears, the worries, concerns, and negativity. Visualize all of that fear, worry, concerns, negativity, anger, resentment. Visualize that dissipating out of your body and spirit, just putting it out there, and look at how you can give love, gratitude, and kindness to all of those around you, from your family, your friends, your clients, your sphere, your neighborhood, your communities, and always be your best self. We all have our down moments. Just get over those quickly. be down, cry, be upset, and then just brush yourself off and get back to work and focus on your dreams and goals, because they will all come back if you come back. And the quicker you come back, the quicker it'll happen for everyone.
Thank you. Mike, please.
Just want to share, just always come from contribution first, very, very much like Christoph. And also, quote from, this is a quote that I really like a lot. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's by Henry Ford. Some of the, I wanted to share with you some of the books and podcasts that I'm listening to. So podcasts, Gary Vee, of course, is a big one. Tony Robbins, Bigger Pockets. I listen to them quite a bit. The Lakers Nation. Hopefully you guys are all Laker fans. Labco Agents, Think Like a CEO with Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. Massive Agent Podcast with Dustin Brown. And I do have a coach as well. If you don't have a coach, I do strongly recommend, in all times, you do need a coach. I'm sure a lot of our panelists do have coaches as well. And then some people that I do follow that I mentioned already, that I mentioned earlier, Gary Keller, Jay Papasan, Tom Ferry, Frederick Eklund, Ryan Serhant. These guys are at the top of their business. And so so always be learning, always, come from a place for contribution.
Thank you, Mike. Sham.
Yeah, so I would just encourage people during this time to recognize that self-care is really, really important. So the idea of waking up with meditation and prayer to clear your head and get it going, important. Make sure you're exercising, make sure your diet is good. I mean, these are all basics and we know it subconsciously, but we forget to do things like this. And in times like this, when we're stuck at home, a lot of us, we forget meditation, prayer, exercise, diet, and then sleep is an important part of that. On a practical level, I would encourage people to use what I call smart scripts. We're in a time when technology is super important to contact our client base. And so we need to use that technology, but we also have to be authentic in the way that we do it. So it's not just smart, like smartphone, smart technology. It's also smart with regard to using wisdom in how. It has to be relational right now. The way that we lead generate has to be caring for people. And so when we reach out to do either calls or posts or whatever, to try and contact our sphere particularly is what I'm referring to. It needs to come from a place of genuineness and honesty with regard to the situation we're in. So when somebody says, how's the market? Because everybody's asking us, how's the market? And what they're really asking is the pandemic affecting real estate? Is it affecting the financial loan industry? The answer is yeah. It's hour by hour, it's minute by minute. And so that should be your first response. It's hour by hour, minute by minute. The second response needs to be, hey, even though it's hour by hour and minute by minute right now, some buyers and sellers are legitimately deciding to hold off because of this. However, there are some people that have a clear conscience and no problem. And so for those that are wanting to move forward, I'm using smart technology, virtual showings, Zoom meetings so that you can see my face when we sign paperwork. I'm doing everything that I can to honor the situation that we're in while still servicing the needs in the real estate world. So hour by hour, yes, some people are waiting, that's okay. But in the event that you want to move things forward, I have the technology in place to help you. Super, super key in building relationship and trust with clients right now.
Thanks, Sean. And Joey, you have something to say?
Matt first.
Yeah, okay. Matt?
Well, to quote the great Dolly Parton, I can't have a rainbow without a couple raindrops. Words of wisdom there. But, to piggyback on what Sean was saying, I agree completely. I think authenticity anytime is really what you want to throw out there with your clients, and particularly right now. I think sometimes we get trapped as salespeople that we always want to have a positive answer to every concern. We want to, want an answer to everything that they come to the table with in terms of a concern. And you don't need to. You can just have to be authentic. And again, it's not all sunshines and rainbows and unicorns right now. but we'll get through this. And it's a heck of a lot different than what I experienced and what we experienced, in my belief, 12 years ago.
Thank you.
Keep on keeping on.
It's your turn, Troy.
Yeah. So when after this thing, I learned something from Christopher too. So what I heard, he said that it's important. You have to do it with your heart, naturally. So that's why, you know, being natural, because you look at everyone here at the panelists, they are very natural, and all natural coming from the bottom of the heart. So look at them. You know what? They're very successful. Look at them, very successful. So
Yeah.
I'm a believer. So what I got from my morning devotion this morning is what they say: seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness. I put it hard, natural. All these things shall be added. It means all your success will come along if you're doing things with your heart. So I love it that way.
Thank you, Troy. And thank you all. And I learned a lot. I think all the attendee and get some more information during this webinar. At the last, I want to say something to my realtor friend brokers. You know, never look back, never settle down. It will be stop raining. It will be sunny. Nothing gonna be too so bad. You have to focus yourself to be good, and then be proud of your life. Thank you all. Thank you for this webinar.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you.
Honor being with you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
See you guys in real person very soon.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye.
Have a good party.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.